Hello everyone, my name is Kirill. You are on the AutoAdviser channel. Today we will discuss how to warm up the engine and is it worth doing it at all. I have a small request for you. If you have a red button under this video, click on it to turn it gray and don't forget about the little bell. Now let's think about why warming up the engine at all, since some people don't believe that this is necessary. From the general point of view, any technical products or mechanisms operate in a certain operating range. For example, a tank must be driven on solid ground. If it hits some kind of a swampy soil, it will simply fail. Or submarine too cannot sink below a certain depth. The same is true for an internal combustion engine that must operate within a certain temperature range. If the temperatures are too low or too high, it can lead to increased wear of the engine. From a technical point of view, there are two reasons why it is necessary to warm up the engine. The first reason is oil. We all buy oil depending on its viscosity. It is indicated on each can. So, the viscosity of the oil depends very much on temperature. To put it simply, at low temperatures, a viscous oil looks like some kind of a gel, or honey maybe. And at high temperatures, the oil becomes kinda too liquid and also loses its properties. The second technical reason is the linear expansion of metals. We all know from the course of physics that when heated, metals increase in size, and engines are designed taking into account these thermal expansions. So while an engine is cold, there will be some excessive gaps between its parts. Based on the information above, the intermediate conclusion is the engine should definitely be warmed up. The only question is how to warm it up. There are two main approaches to warming up the engine. The first method is to let it idle, that is, we just start the car and wait for a while until it warms up. Of course, this method has its flaws. The first disadvantage is that it takes a lot of time to fully warm up the car, and in addition, all this time, while the car is idling, it's giving off greenhouse gas emissions and other pollutions that can get into your house, for example. From an engineering point of view, it is necessary to warm up the engine as quickly as possible, since being in this state can be unfavorable. As I said earlier, when oil is too thick, the pistons and rings suffer, since for their lubrication it is necessary that the so-called oil mist form. And this mist forms only at certain temperatures and only at certain frequency rotation of the engine. So the faster we warm up our engine, the less wear it experiences. Based on this, the first method of warming up is relatively unfavorable, since we warm up the car for a very long time. There is a second way of warming up. This is warming up while driving, but remember not to rev the engine hard for the first few minutes of driving. In the second case, the car quickly enters the operating mode. Also, it is more environmentally friendly, since less exhaust gases are released into the atmosphere. Yes, many of you go into outrage about exhaust gases, but I wanted to say this. When the engines reach operating temperatures, various exhaust gas recirculation systems kick in, which reduce emissions into the atmosphere. Thus, the faster we warm up the engine, the less harmful exhaust gases we emit into the atmosphere. And all manufacturers recommend warming up the engine while driving. Just remember not to drive too fast until you see the temperature gauge move off the cold reading. Many of you are probably resentful, asking why have we all been idling our cars for 10 minutes? The reason was purely technical. Previously, if you would immediately drive a cold car, it would instantly stall. There was a problem in the engine control system. But modern engine management systems can support this mode, so we can immediately start moving and warm up the engine right on the go. I feel the part of the audience will say that this is a conspiracy theory, that the capitalists have specifically written these harmful instructions that will kill our engines. In fact, everything is a little differently. By the way, we have a separate video about this. The link will be in the description. And there I'll tell in details from the engineering point of view of how a new product is developed and how its resources calculated. And so the conclusions. There's a Murphy's Law, which says, if nothing helps, finally refer to the instructions. And in our case, the instructions say, warm up the engine while driving, and I completely agree with them. I hope I reasonably answered the question, how to warm up the engine. My name is Kirill, it was the AutoAdviser channel. All the best to you and see you soon.